So now we're going to be thinking more about the wave function as a whole, right? And what is the wave function? Well, basically, the wave function is just a way to describe the sum of two trigonometric waves, right? A bit of a mouthful there. Well, what does that mean, all right? So obviously, just from before I said sketch sine x or cos x, right? You'd be able to do it because it's always the same. But what if I have something like 3 sine x plus 2 cos x? Okay, what does that equal? How do you sketch that, right? Because you've got sine and you've got a cos in there. So how does it fit together? So I'll show you these two graphs here. So obviously this is down here is the graph for sine x and this is the graph for cos x, right? So you've got two different things going on, but how do they add together? I don't know. Well, you soon will. So this is what the graph of these two equations added together looks like, right? And this is what we'll be calculating when we use the wave function. So I'm going to go over to Desmos and I'm going to show you a little bit more detail just so you can really understand what's going on here. So now we're over in Desmos, and as before we've got our graph of 3 sine x and we've got another graph of 2 cos x, right? So what's going to happen when you add the two of them together, right? Boom, you get this red line, okay? This red line is made up of both the blue line and the green line. But it makes sense if you look at the red line, right? So at 0, the blue line plus the green line. So the blue, which is sine, which is 0, and then green, which is 2, right? So 0 plus 2 is 2, and that's where the red line falls, just here, right? And then if you take, what's another good example? So you take this point here, right? So both the lines are at 33, 1.664 height, okay? So if you go right up, this number 3.373 will be double whatever that was, okay? You can calculate that yourself if you want. So again, so when this goes negative, they're taken away from each other, like here, or here you can see they're both negative. Here one's negative, one positive, okay? So just, this was never explained to me when I did this, so I think this really helps make it clear. Okay, but again, you're thinking, I still wouldn't know how to add this together, right? But just taking away the other two lines. Well, here you can kind of see that, like, if you shifted it a bit back, it would look like a cos graph, and then if you shifted it a bit further forward, it would look like a sine graph, right? Because sine graphs and cos graphs, they're just the same graph, just at different snapshots, right? So you can always express a sine graph and a cos graph that are added together as just one cos graph or sine graph. I'm saying sine and cos a lot, so fair enough, it's going to be confusing. But if you look at the equation below here, this root 13 cos x minus 56, right? So this is just using a cos term. There's no sine term in here. What we can do is if we turn this on, you'll see that actually this equation and that equation describe exactly the same wave, right? But you've been able to write it out just using a cos term. So what we're going to go on to do is show how to write this like this, okay? And it's a lot easier to figure out.